Hello and welcome back to Tucson, Arizona. I'm Randy.
I'm Nick.
So we were just doing another video, took a little break, and in that we started talking about like parenting stuff and life and how expensive life is. My kids are 19 and 17. When I was married to my ex, she didn't work most of our marriage. In the last little bit of time, like last year and a half that she did work, our schedules were reversed. So I worked early day, she worked all night. So we were always with the kids, or her mom had them. So I never had to pay for daycare. And then even when we divorced, and we divorced when my kids were very little, Richter hadn't quite turned 2 yet.
Mhm.
So I've been divorced a long time. So I never had to deal with daycare.
Mhm.
Our schedule, either I had my kids every weekend or I had them a week on, week off, whatever, and someone was always there. I'd like drop the kids off with my ex mother-in-law when I went to work when I had them, and then pick them up, whatever. I never had to pay for daycare, so I don't have any experience paying daycare. So what you were just talking about was daycare. So take it away with wherever you want to take it away with.
So this started with the government helping with certain aspects of some people's lives because of hardships or disabilities. I'll say not necessarily disability, but
Well, no,
in,
like
in a way.
my brother's on disability because of all the mental issues. I actually did a video last night, or the other night, kind of talking about mental health and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I got issues
Well,
with my family members.
I just don't want it to be a negative connotation. I'm not
No,
saying
and
bad.
I wasn't crapping on it either. I was just saying
Yeah.
the whole point of the video was if you've got something going on, find a healthy outlet.
Yeah.
And if you need meds, take your damn meds.
Yeah. So there's certain times people get helped out, and we were just talking about. So I was telling him how much we paid last year.
Dude, it's freaking
So
mind-blowing.
last year, I don't really like putting too many numbers out there. I'll start with the thing. But when my son was 1 and 4 and 1 and 5, because they're depending on how, or
Depending on
1
the
and
month.
4, 1 and 3, 2 and 3, whatever, or 2 and 4, depending on when it is. But when they were that little, we had them both in daycare. The first year we had them in daycare, it was almost 25 grand. It was 24 and change.
That's
which
gnarly to me.
You get to write off some of it and stuff, but like,
Yeah, but you have to pay it.
yeah,
The money has to leave your bank account.
it's a hardship,
Dude, yeah, that's for
And-
sure hard.
and it wasn't much less last year.
Dude,
But
that is so
now
freaking wild.
our oldest is in school, but he still has all summer that he's in.
And after care.
And I didn't mention this when we were talking a minute ago, but literally when I signed up Colton for daycare, and I'm just going to use, I don't remember exact numbers, I do right now, but it's $253 a week for us to have him in daycare full time. So, yeah. So
That's insane.
that's 12 plus a year for just him. And ABM gives me a 10% discount. So I have a little bit of a foot up on some people. I get 10% off that. And not off that. That is my 10% off cost. When we signed up Colton for daycare, with the youngest, you pay the most because they take the most need. And then as they get older, they cost a little less, till they get to a certain age. And I think it's the same. I'm not there yet.
Which is weird because they all eat more.
They will. But that's how it is. The babies poop. They need diapers. Like, we didn't have to supply diapers. So stuff like that. When we signed him up, it was like $242 a week. And then you get a break to like $233, and then they have their price increase of 12%. And then they like
that's
every year
nuts.
that's happened. So literally I'm in the same ballpark with him since we started with him. And then Trevin was in full time, and he was just a little bit less. And it was like 13 something for Colton the first year, and like 11.9 for Trevin the first year. That like they were both in full time.
That is so insane to me.
So it's a ton of
That
money.
is the most insane like number I've heard in a while
So-
for a thing.
Yes, it's
Like, dude, that's I could own my house in just a couple of years making those kind of payments.
and people who have family and friends that can watch them. I applaud you, and I am very
I
happy
was
for you.
blessed. I was blessed that way.
I am not that way. I don't have friends and family that can watch them during the days. It just is life. So,
Bro, if you want to pay me that, I might quit my job. I'm just kidding.
no, you wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't. Yeah, it's not enough to pay my salary or any of my bills or my hobbies. And I got expensive freaking hobbies because I'm an idiot.
So,
Dude, that's wild. So now go into the friend of ours you were just talking about.
So-
We'll call him Schmeely. No, I'm just kidding.
no, I won't use their names, but
Call him Dave.
Dave. I'll probably still end up calling him his real name on accident, but Dave and
Dave's wife.
Dave's wife. That works. They have 2 kids who are on the spectrum. So
They're wild.
they're
wild.
they are, and I love them to death. They're great kids, but
They're not full tilt spectrum, just to be clear.
Yeah.
And I've got friends that are, and I got members of my church that are, and they're the sweetest freaking people ever. They're just spectrum enough to be unruly people.
yes,
Like they don't cast spells. They're not doing this. They're just, you can't get them to sit still.
So-
You can't get them to take. I just wanted people to realize we're not mocking.
yeah. No,
like,
I
truly
love both
autistic
of them.
people. Like these kids are they're just tism enough to not sit still and not listen to anybody.
So to put it in perspective, too, the oldest is a boy, the youngest is a girl. The oldest, they've had him to the therapist and they've done all kinds of stuff with him. He doesn't have empathy.
That's clear.
So when he gets angry, he gets angry. The daughter has too much empathy. So you literally will get her. They'll yell at their son, and she cries for him because she's just that empathetic. So it's a very hard balance for them, and I'm not knocking them in any way.
Difficult dichotomy.
I love their whole family. We hang out as often as we can. They don't live here right now, but anyways,
They will again. They move a lot.
they do. But I was talking
Dave's a
to
good dude, but he moves a lot.
Yeah. So I was talking to Dave, and his wife worked at a bank. I'll say a bank, and she was making like $12 an hour. I think it was $12.50. I think exactly what it was. And he called me one day, and surprisingly, he doesn't like using the government for things. He just doesn't trust the government. As a lot of people don't. Don't blame him. But he called me. He's like, "Hey, what do I do?" I was like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "So it costs us 25+ K to have our kids in the place they need to be in. The
In a
government,
facility that can actually handle."
they know that because they price it out. The government pays for that right now because of their situation." And I was like, "Okay." He's all, "If with my wife working, we make too much money. So her making $12 an hour, and that's, I don't even know how much that is a year at this point in my life.
Not much.
Then they have to cover that bill.
What's that, like 30 grand a year, maybe?
I don't know. So like she wouldn't even make that after taxes, I don't think. And so he's like, "Dude, what do I do?"
Definitely below poverty line,
Yeah,
like by like
probably.
a lot.
Wow, I did the math way wrong.
Math is hard.
Yeah, 12.5
Help,
times
I'm poor.
40 hours a week times 52.46
That's
or something like that. Yeah, it's like 26 grand a year. He's like,
All
"So we
right.
don't even take home that."
Yeah, so their take home might be 20.
But he did, so she hasn't worked. I was like, "Dude, you're in an impossible spot. Like, I don't like using the government money, but that's what it's there for, is like the kids, not them,
It's so
but
wild.
the kids."
Yeah, they'll cover, the way you put it was so freaking sad and epic. They will cover the childcare if she doesn't work. If she doesn't work, she doesn't need the childcare.
Yes.
Like, what weird system is this? Meanwhile, we're sending money to Argentina and Ireland and like the Middle East. We need that money here, man.
Yeah. Dude, it was insane to me that the amount that they didn't care, because the dumb thing is then she's not working, so then they get food stamps, and then they also cover their insurances, so Matt doesn't have to have insurance on his thing anymore.
Dave.
Said I was gonna do it. I knew I was gonna do it.
I knew you were too. That's why I kept interjecting with Dave.
So, Dave.
Dave and you.
Anyways, so then Dave doesn't.
I tried.
Doesn't have to have doesn't have to have it paid on his insurance, and he makes more money and brings home more home even though he's not making any more money. So all of that helped them
Dude, our
drastically.
system
But
is so weird.
he had a mental block, like I can't do it, and I was like, I don't blame you. Like I don't like asking anything from government. Like I don't like it.
I just want my money to stay my money.
Yeah.
And I want our collective national money to remain ours.
Yeah.
And then if systems like that, see, and I'm cool with systems like that being in place because people need it. And the way our system is designed, like our country should be taking care of its people. Its people, not other countries' people. Sorry, I don't give a damn about other countries. They're not our problem.
I like some of them.
Like, it's not that I like it. It has nothing to do with like or dislike. It's their systems need to be corrected to protect their people.
Yes.
Like there's a conversation I have with a coworker all the time who is from Mexico. So he's a Mexican American. I'm so sick of people who were born here who have never been on the other side of the border saying they're Mexican. You're not. You're American. Shut the hell up. Like, I'm Scotch Irish. Never been there. So I'm American.
Swedish and Danish.
Yeah.
Never been there.
So you don't want to go to Sweden right now, bro. So those countries need to fix their own problems. Like Canada needs to fix their own problems. And it cracks me up how many comments I've been seeing lately where people are like, it's so hard to get into the American border. And then all these comments going like, dude, you don't want to go to America right now anyway. Just stay in Canada. You're better off in Canada. Like, you're safer here. It's like, really? Because Justin Trudeau, blackface Trudeau, was systematically seizing bank accounts of people who disagreed with the government. Yeah, you're better off staying there. Whatever, dude. Like, I don't care. Stay there. But your country is in terrible disarray. And all of this communist, free healthcare. Really, how's that work out when you've got a spleen that bursts and you need to wait 6 months for a table to open up?
Yep.
Sorry, your system sucks. Like, I don't care. Our system, there is no perfect system.
No.
But I can go down the street right now and get bandaged up. Now, it
Yep.
might cost me a lot, but I can do it. I can walk right in and get a room right now.
Yep.
Like, my wife is the most accident person prone on the freaking planet, and how people don't like immediately think that I beat her is beyond me. I've taken her to a hospital on my motorcycle because my truck was in the shop, and she had busted up her leg real bad at work, falling down. Like, she didn't fall all the way downstairs like a comic character, but like she was going downstairs at the warehouse and it had been raining, so they're really slick. So she slipped and like busted up her leg real bad. And the only thing I had to take her on was the bike. So I come in looking the way I look, wearing leathers, and taking her in. And I was waiting for them to ask me to wait in the waiting room, and they didn't. They let me help her back into a room and then let me hang out with her. And then when she rolled off to x-rays and came back, no one questioned me. And then she comes back, and then I start joking with the guy, the nurse who was helping. And I was like, so how many, did you tell them I beat you or something? And the dude starts laughing because he knew I was trying to joke. And he was like, actually, you wouldn't believe how many men are abused that come through here. That when I ask, how did this happen? They're like, yeah, no, she's abusing me, but I can't tell anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, no, men are way more abused than women.
That's funny.
So anyways, I've had to take her to the hospital several times for doing things. And I'm never home when she damages herself. Unfortunately, I have cameras that could prove that.
Dude.
So when she said she fell downstairs, bro, like I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this. Like, I wish I would have just dropped you off and left.
Yeah.
Like, I thought for sure I was getting arrested.
So Trevin, we got a call from school on Wednesday.
Uh-huh.
He fell on the basketball court. I
saw that.
Yeah, you can see it on his eye still. It's clearly there. But I guess they were like wrestling over the basketball, and the kid like semi pushed him, like trying to get him off, and he fell. Like, it's playground crap. Like, nobody cares. They call, hey, he's having a rough day now. Like, he keeps saying it hurts, then he runs around the plays, and it hurts. Probably just a little bit of a headache. Which one make you aware? Do you want to come get him? Well, Jackie talked to him. He said he was okay for the rest of the day. I picked him up at the end of the day. I go pick up Colton. Big old shiner. And it was way worse. It was all puffed up. It was bad. And I walk in, and know the people there really well. We've been going there since Trevin was 2 or 3, so 4 or 5 years now. And we walk in, and there's a young girl, and she walks over and she looks at him. She's like, "Oh, what happened to your face?" And he always looks at me when somebody asks him a question. Doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
So he looks at me, and so she looks at me, and I said, he wouldn't stop talking back. She lost it laughing because she knows I was joking, but she was just like, "Oh my gosh, that's so funny. My grandma used to tell me just to go out in the wilderness and wrestle with cats." And I was like, "My grandma told me to trip a diesel." Like,
I tell people to play in traffic. Years back, I had these big 8x8 beams that were like 12 foot long, these giant beams. And initially, they were going to be the main structure for my gym until I decided to go with a different route. But I had several of these beams, and they were kind of in the way. So one day I'm at work, I'm running service calls, and my wife was like, "Hey, I'm going to do yard work. I'm going to do this and do that. I'm going to move those beams." And I was like, "Do not touch those beams. They're hundreds of pounds. You're going to hurt yourself." My wife is a foot shorter than me and like 90 pounds lighter. She has no business touching these damn beams. So
120 pounds lighter, just in case she watches it.
yeah. So that's why I was like throwing out big numbers. So she's a little person. And I was adamant, do not touch those. I will do them when I get home. I promise, as soon as I park my truck, I will move the beams. Please don't touch them. I know where they're going. I know where they'll be out of the way. Just let me handle it. And she's like, okay. Cut to a few hours later, I'm leaving the job site, and I was almost in a major car accident. So I'm like, because some people on the south side just don't know how to drive, they're all got their phones right here, and I almost got ran into, like, it was really, it could have been really bad.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like panicking, and I wear earbuds all the time. So I, hands free, call my wife, and I'm just like, she answers, and I was like, I was almost in a car accident just now. Like, oh my God, like I'm freaking out. Like I'm trying to calm down. I just needed to talk to somebody. And she was like, I'm like, are you okay? And I could tell she's crying. And she was like, no. And then I'm like, what the hell's going on? And she's like, I'm laying in the driveway. And I was like, what? And she's like, I was moving the beams. And I was like, oh. And she's like, it fell on me. It cut me. Like the beam's still on me. So my kids, come running out there because her phone was in the house. Richter heard the phone, saw it was me, and took it out to her, and then saw this, and then she got Daniel, and they got the beam off of her. So I call her kid, who had her car, was at work, and I was like, dude, you need to haul ass home now. Help your mom. I'm on my way, but I'm on the south side. I'm going to be a while. So then I haul ass home. They already got to the hospital. I said, go drop her off. He came back, got me, took me back, whatever. I took the truck over there. So I'm sitting there. This beam had a giant nail sticking out of it that didn't have a head on it. So when it fell, it caught the inside of her thigh just above her knee and fell on her, went down, and then cut like 8 inches.
Mm-hmm.
And
I remember.
So she's all torn up. So I get there and I'm like freaking out. And then we go into the back and they can't do anything about it. It's too deep. So we had to go to a different ER that actually does that stuff. So then I have to drive her clear across town to Broadway and Swan to get it stitched up. So I was like, I told you not to touch it. Like, I told you. Why did you do this? So then we get to the second place. We go into the back. We're waiting. They come in and they're looking at it. And she was wearing like yoga pants. So and they're already torn. So they cut that section open real big and they're looking. They're like, what happened? And she goes, I didn't listen to my husband. And I'm sitting in the corner looking the way I look. And I was like, oh, that woman, one shot, and dude was like, if looks could kill, she'd have murked me right there. And then the other lady kind of looked and started kind of like chuckling. And I was like, she was moving a big ass beam I told her not to touch while I was at work. I wasn't there. And then they start kind of laughing. Yeah. But dude, when she said that, she was like, I didn't listen to my husband. I was like, oh, yeah. Was this all planned? Like, am I going away in handcuffs?
So I don't even like, and I'm not, I don't look typical like that.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. You don't look like an abusive husband.
I
Jackie,
do. I don't remember what it was for, but I took Jackie to get something. Like maybe it was the post or pre-op for her surgery or like something weird. And they made me sit outside. They didn't even let me back in the room at first. And
yeah,
I was
they
like,
thought you were abusing her.
Yeah, and I was like, she's not even here because she's hurt. Like, I remember it wasn't, you know what I mean? Like, she's here for
She's not even injured.
And I got back there and they had asked her, they're like, hey, is your husband abusing you, blah, blah. And I was like, but that's not why we're here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was so confused
I
by that
love this
whole
story.
situation.
I love this because it's never been asked. My wife is. I've asked her every time too.
Yeah.
I'm like, did they ask you? And she's like, no.
That's the only time they've ever asked her. And like, no joke. She walks in, she's got a big old shiner. I get asking. I really do. But it was like, I swear it was for something like her pre-op for her surgery or her something
scheduled.
Yeah, and like she went into the back because she had to have vitals checked and stuff before going to the room, and they were like, "Did your husband beat you?" She's like, no, I don't.
Dude, that is hilarious.
He beats me so hard I have to get my thyroid. Like, I don't even know how that works.
He slapped me so hard over some overcooked lasagna the other day, it broke my thyroid.
I was so confused that day. I was just like, "What the hell happened here?" Like. I don't even understand it.
This video is probably gonna get flagged for all the laughing we're doing, but
you're not allowed to laugh,
dude, for what we're laughing about.
Oh,
but
well, I'm not laughing about abuse. I'm not laughing about women getting abused. I'm laughing about the situation.
Yeah, dude. I'm seriously surprised. Like, I again took my wife in full leathers on my bike to the hospital where she said she fell downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
If anyone should ever be asking questions, it was them. And I was like, and I even brought it up because at that point I was uncomfortable. I was like, this was the only way I had to get here. Like,
yeah,
I wasn't there. I wasn't there when it happened. I'm the only reason she's here because I convinced her to come. Like, she doesn't go to the hospital. Dude, there was another time, the first time, we didn't live together yet. She was at my place and we'd been drinking. And she gets up. I get up to go to the bathroom, and this was at my townhouse, and I hear a lot of commotion, right, while I'm in there, and I'm like, "What the hell?" So I come back out, and she is sprawled out on my floor because the living room was carpeted, but then the dining room and the kitchen were tile, and then the all the way up to the bathroom, and then both bedrooms were carpeted again. Apparently, she was going to surprise me, right? So she got up to run around the corner and go into the bedroom and like scare me or whatever her plan was. And she hit that tile floor and just went whoop. Oh, and when all the commotion I heard was her hitting the tile floor and spilling the dog food. She hit the dog food thing and just the dish, dude, and dog food went everywhere. So I walk out and it's straight ahead of me.
Yeah.
So I walk, I'm like, what the hell was that? So I wash my hands real quick and I come out and I'm like, and she's just sprawled out in my floor
with dog
food everywhere. And I'm like, what the hell happened? And she's like, I was trying to be funny.
Was a little funny after the fact.
So I get her up. I'm like, oh my God, are you okay? Like, so I get her. She's like, I landed on my knee and my elbow hurts really bad. And I was like, I bet it does. You just landed on solid tile. Like, so I get her and I was like, I set her down. I'm like, you okay? I give her ice packs and stuff. And then eventually, go to bed, right? So I wake up the next morning and she is out. So I get up, like start my day, get coffee going, all that fun stuff. And then I wake her up and her elbow, dude, is like a softball. And she's in a ton of pain. So I was like, we got to take you somewhere.
Yeah.
And she's like, no. It's, we had all this big day planned. And I said, do you think we're going to do any of that?
Yeah.
When you can't move your arm? Like, no, we're going. So I took her and everything, she explained what happened and they, gave her whatever they gave her and we went on with our day and we just kind of had a chill day. And then like 2 months later, like a month or two later, I took her on the bike because she fell down the steps and twisted up her foot real bad. And then I don't know, a year later took her because of something like I've taken her like 7 times and I'm like, at some point they're going to see your records and they're not going to believe you anymore.
Yeah.
Like, we were joking about this today at church. We had a meeting after church for VBS, which is coming up, Vacation Bible School. And me and a couple of the ladies were in there talking about cooking and stuff. And somehow they started talking about like cutting themselves while like cutting food or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I've got burn ointment, like a big thing of burn ointment on the stove because my wife burns herself all the time. I bought her a chainmail glove that she refuses to wear, but then cuts the crap out of her fingers. When we were on vacation in Colorado this year, right, we're at the B&B, and I'm chilling watching TV, watching the recap of the day of events at the Shaw Classic. So I'm sitting on like the edge of the bed. She's around the wall. It's like a U-shaped place, right, with a wall running kind of up the middle. But the TV would tilt so you can see it from anywhere. So I'm sitting on the edge of the bed with it tilted, and she can still see it from the kitchen, and she's prepping food. So she's making us Philly cheesesteaks. So she's in there, and I'm just sitting on the edge of the bed because there's nothing for me to, like, she doesn't let me do anything, right? So she's prepping, and then I just hear her go, ow, ow. And I'm like, what the hell? So I round the corner, I'm like, what's up? And she's holding her hand over the sink, and she cut her thumb really bad, like really freaking bad. And I was like, oh crap. I was like, we need to go to an ER. Like we got to go somewhere. And she was like, no. I was like, that needs stitches, babe. Like that's bad. And she was like, nope, we're not going. She's like, we're going to bandage this up. So I bandage it up. We go to Walmart, which closes at like 11, and it's like 10:15. So we haul ass in there. I grab super glue, liquid skin, bandages. Like I grabbed the full 9 because we only have like a little kit that we take with us. So I buy all this first aid stuff, come back, we bandage her up, liquid skin it, super glue it, all the fun stuff. And then she's like, throughout the weekend, we keep having to reapply stuff and do all that. So she brought that up today. She was like, yeah, she was like, I really should have gone and got stitches. Like that was really deep. And I'm like, but you never listen to me.
Dude.
Like she's the most accident prone person I know.
So, you know those, the pans we bought? I don't remember, Hexclad?
Oh, you bought the Hexclad?
We bought Hexclad pans. It came, like the set that I bought came with a knife. And it's one of those, it starts with an 8, it's like Hirisha or something knives.
Yeah.
Like it's the blacker steel stuff. And I was like, cool. Like we have a nice set of knives. I don't need it, but it comes with the set. So we're sitting there opening everything. And like, it was actually kind of fun, which sounds really weird, but we got new pots. And it's the first time me and her have bought us pots. Because we got them for like the wedding and they lasted for a couple of years.
Because I buy her new pot set every couple of years. So I get it. I was looking into the Hexclad. They're still a little damn pricey.
I waited till they were on sale. Honestly, anyway, that's another story. But she grabs the knife out and she holds it like this and she grabs the plastic sleeve. It's got like hard plastic on one side and the black hard plastic on the back so you can see it. And she like pulls it off and she's like, oh, she's like, this thing's fancy, you know? And it's about as long as it's been out of the sleeve. She goes like this and like lines it up and puts it in and goes and fucking cuts her thumb. It cut through the sleeve like that. Like she's pushing it back in and it cut through the damn sleeve and cut her finger. And it was bad enough to bleed, but not bad enough that a hospital trip was.
Gotcha.
And before we went on our trip last year, I'm sitting there. This one's worse because I'm cutting butter. Right before we, like, literally, it's the night before we leave. I was cutting into butter. It was frozen butter. We buy a big block, not a big block, but like a thing of like 6 of them.
Yeah, so
freeze some when need them, pull them out. We hadn't pulled one out. Still needed a little bit of butter. Frozen butter. Getting ready to cut frozen butter. Have a butter knife. I'd already used it on the other butter because it cooked like 4 or 5 things because we like prepped food before we left.
That's
so
what
we
we
could
do
take it
every
with
year
us.
too, yeah.
So we'd cook chicken and all kinds of stuff. So we just need a little bit more butter. That's all I needed. Just a little more butter. And so I'd already been cutting with a butter knife, and I was like, I'm not gonna dirty a knife. Should have dirtied a knife.
Yeah, you should have.
I'm sitting there and I cut through like a piece of it, and it's a pain. But
it sucks,
I get through
dude.
it.
Frozen butter. My butter's never frozen. It's always in a fridge.
I don't remember which kid it was, but they came up and they're sitting there talking to me, and I'm like pushing down on the butter, and I'm like, I'm just gonna break a little piece off. Is kind of what I was thinking. So I'm holding the butter, and the piece breaks off, and the butter knife goes in here and out here. I could see my bone.
What the hell kind of butter knife do you
Bro,
have?
Just that much force pushing down on it. It was all, and it literally had pinched my finger against the ground, like the thing, and just went straight through. And I was all, ooh. It hurt so bad.
Oh, dude.
I didn't go to the hospital either, though. I should have. That one was a bad one. It healed pretty good, but you can see where the knife went in.
Oh, yeah, you can. A little deviation.
But it was literally all the way to here.
Dude, that's gnarly.
And yeah, but we went to go hang out at a pool. And I was like, yeah, I'm just going to sit. the side of the
I'll just
pool.
be right here
Just watch the kids.
with my finger up.
If they need help, then I'm gonna dive in and get burned. I don't know. I don't know.
Chemical burn, chemical burn.
But luckily, I've never had a situation where people thought I was beating Jackie because I.
They asked once.
Oh, yeah, they asked once when it didn't make any damn sense.
So the worst one I've ever done is so she had foot surgery back in 2020. She's needed it forever. Finally, like the world's calmed down. She wasn't working very much. She's still getting full pay, so full insurance, all that. So she finally scheduled foot surgery. So she goes and gets it done. And I drop her off first thing in the morning. It's like, 6 or 7 hour procedure to do all of it because they basically like break your foot and pin it all back together. So when I go to pick her up, because I'm such a funny guy, do you know who Robert Oberst is? So he was a competitive strongman. It was actually the Strong and Pretty thing. So I have Strong and Pretty T-shirts and stickers and stuff. Obi is one of our favorite strongmen, mostly because his attitude. He's just really funny. He was on The Righteous Gemstones. It's in like season 3. Really funny dude. So, and I've met him, great guy in person. So he's got like a Strong and Pretty shirt, which I have. And then he's got another shirt that says, I lift heavy shit. And I wore that shirt to go get her from surgery. Well, I took the Suburban. So if any of you have watched the airplane video, you've seen my Suburban. So it's a big lifted 3/4 ton 4x4 Suburban. I'm on 35s, so it's tall. I have to pick her up to get her into the back seat of this truck because she's like in a splint and all that stuff. So she has to have her legs straight. So I did they wheel her out in a wheelchair, and the nurse who's pushing her sees my shirt and starts dying laughing. She's like, I love your shirt. And I was like, thanks. And then I pick up my wife and I put her in the back of the truck. And my wife was like, did you really have to wear that shirt today? And I was like, hey, I can pick you up. You're not that heavy. So
funny.
yeah, she every time I wear that shirt, she's like, you're so funny.
That's a good one. I like that.
Yep. Fun stuff. Yeah. I swear I'm a good husband.
And just to be clear one more time, we're not laughing at actually anybody getting abused. It's the situation around that.
Yeah.
It's like going into Walmart and then being like, hey, do you abuse your wife? And you're like, where the hell did this come from? I know it's Walmart, and that might be typical of some of the people there. But
to be fair, my wife watches what we call the Learning Channel. I mean, you were
oh, yeah.
to it,
Yep. My wife does.
Yeah, women who off their husbands. My wife is convinced that she could end me, and I brought this up once before in a video, and she actually, she watches some of these on Tuesday on 2 days a month. She has to drive all the way out to like Tombstone, Sonoyta, and Bisbee. So she's got this big long drive, right, all day, and so she'll listen to some of these episodes on those. Well, she listened to that one when I was like, my wife thinks she could kill me. Ha 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 ha. And her son was on with me. So she's like, she gets home, and the first thing I was like, hey babe, how's your day? She's like, I could totally end you and I could totally drag you. So she was responding to the video that I'd forgotten I made because it was like a week old video. And she's like, I could drag you. And I was like, no, you couldn't. Like you couldn't. No. Like I'm 260 pounds, 250 pounds, like at any given day.
Yeah.
Like you're not dragging me anywhere. She's like, I could do it. Cause she had a few days earlier, like what spurred it on is she was joking and she was like, I could end you. And then I just drag you out there and feed you to the chickens. And I'm like, first off, you need pigs, not chickens.
Yeah.
Like chickens will not devour all of me in any timely manner.
No.
Like you will have to deal with an awful lot of me left over. Like the chickens would get tired of me real quick. And chickens are omnivores. They eat everything. They love grasshoppers. They love ants. They love mice. They eat it all.
They eat each other.
Yeah, if they're wounded, you need to separate chickens. And we have a lot of chickens. So, and we did it before it was cool. We did it before eggs were expensive. But I've had chickens most of my life. So she's like, oh, I'll just take you out to the chickens. I'm like, no, I will worry about that the day you bring home pigs.
Mm-hmm.
And I've already told her she's not allowed to have pigs, so I'm golden. She has a goat, which just had 2 babies. Goats only eat grass and
Yeah.
grains and things. I'm not worried about the goats. So she can have all the goats she wants. It's
Dude.
pigs, dude.
So, just for reference, and I think this is pretty spot on actually. I just watched Safe. It's a TV show. It's on Netflix. If you
Okay.
haven't seen it, I would give it like a 7 out of 10, my opinion. But long story short, it's about a guy whose daughter comes up missing, and he finds out a whole bunch of stuff about all of his neighbors, like all of his neighbors. There's weird crap going on, and it's all at the same time. And so my problem with it is jump from storyline a little bit too much. It jumped in the past sometimes, and it didn't say in the past. So you're like, wait, when did that happen? And then it takes a minute, and you're like, oh, okay. Like,
you have to figure it out
yeah,
on your own.
and I don't mind figuring stuff out, but it was a little too much. But a kid ends up dead. You find out in the first episode, not a spoiler,
Spoilers.
but you do find out
It's a terrible
who
person.
does it, and there are 2 people trying to carry the body, and they can't carry the body. And one is an adult, and one is a younger adult. To just so that way you don't know who it is if you're watching it. And one of them, the adult, is a full-grown man, which 90% of them in the show are. So again, not spoiling anything, but they're literally like trying to carry him, and like can't get them up. And I'm like, yeah, it's pretty realistic. Like I've dealt with dead weight before. People pass out and had to pick
Yep.
them up, try to get
Oh,
them breathe.
dude,
Like,
a 90-pound person turns into what feels like 1,000 pounds.
yeah, no, it's ridiculous. So, yeah, no, I don't think they would. But I will tell you the same thing, and I mean, disregard the video if anybody's listening right now. if Jackie does kill me, all of you guys, anybody she asks for help, just help her out. I don't want my just do it. I don't want my kids to grow up without a mom. So I mean, just help her hide. Like, I don't care if you get pigs. If she gets pigs and she's like, "Hey, it's for Jackie," just believe her and just let it happen. And
No, because I'll be next, dude. I'll be next. If you go, I know I'm close
so,
because them women will be in cahoots, and then David's next.
yeah,
Like the 3 of us are going to be in shallow graves next to each other.
Fatty actually we were talking about it one day.
Fatty's safe.
Yes, Fatty's safe. But we were talking about random crap one day, and one thing came up with those serial killer shows and stuff, and how his wife watches them, and I was like, seriously, if I ever come up missing,
Dude, she is super Mormon.
just call
She's not
Jackie,
doing that.
help her out. Like, I don't even care. And he's like, seriously? Like, yes,
Dude,
I'm
he's
putting
a
it on
hunter.
you.
He's a hunter. He will have you like skinned,
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Just help her out. Like, I don't need it. Don't get yourself caught,
field strip you real quick.
but don't let her get caught. You don't have to like go out of your way to like do it for her, but like, I'd appreciate that a lot. He
I'd
started
rather
laughing.
you not be the one with the hammer.
Yeah,
But
Yeah. If you could just make sure she doesn't lose the kids, and yeah, I'm good. She's a good mom, so I'm not gonna, I can't.
clearly a terrible wife, but a very good mom.
Well, she hasn't done it, so she's as good by
Yeah,
my
but in
standards.
this circumstance, that's not a good
Yeah.
wife.
If that happens, terrible wife.
Do it. Yeah, what
And I
cracks
wouldn't
me up-
advise, if I come up missing, I wouldn't advise marrying her. Just throwing out the second husband. I'm sorry for you. No, just joking.
Dude, you know how many stories I've heard over the years between like Mr. Ballin and Wendigoon and all these other dudes that I listen to that talk about that women, their husbands have died mysteriously, and they've gone through like 3 and they've all died mysteriously.
And nobody
It's like,
notices.
stop marrying these people.
Yeah.
Stay away.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care what your reasoning is.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm out.
dude, no, thank you.
So,
It just cracks me up. But yeah, she's convinced that she could drag. One of these days, I want to just lay down
you should.
and just be like, okay, drag me. Because, I mean, no, this is unfair because it's a lowered truck. So I've got a slammed dually. And so it's very low to the ground. Like, I've tabletopped on speed bumps in Safeway parking lot. It sucks. So it's slammed. And we went out. This is a while ago now. Back when we'd still like occasionally go out and drink or whatever. But a friend of ours had a big party. So we went. And I don't drink unless I'm at home. So she drank. Well, what she was drinking, she didn't drink a lot, but it hit her like a freaking hammer the moment we got in the truck. Like, she was fine. She had like a little buzz. We get in the truck, and I was like, oh no, you're about to fall asleep. And she's like, oh no, I'm good. and then she's out.
Mhm.
I was like, damn it. So
Been
I
there.
get in the driveway, close off the gate and everything, right? And I go to get her out. And because the truck is low, like trying to carry her was not like I tried. And she's dead weight. And I'm like, dude, this sucks. And she's not very heavy. So I'm like I can just walk up and just pick her up and run around with her, no problem. But in that position, like seated in the way she was seated, being that low, I mean, the
No way.
bottom of the seat is only 2.5 feet off the ground. So getting down that low, squatting in an awkward position where I'm not over the weight, I'm having to reach out for the weight, like, and to try to get her, I was like, this, nope, you're sleeping in the truck. I closed the door, left the front door unlocked, and I went to bed.
Yep.
And a few hours later, she came in, and the next morning she was like, did I sleep in the truck? I was like, yeah, I couldn't get you out. You wouldn't wake up.
Mhm.
I couldn't carry you. Like, you were too low to the ground. I just couldn't get,
Underneath you.
leverage was not on my side.
Yep.
Previously, many years ago, friend of ours at a wedding. So we go to their wedding, have a great time like people do at weddings. And on the way home, she wound up falling asleep in the Uber. But the Uber was a minivan. So I got her out and was able to carry her no problem. And it's all about that height difference.
Yep.
So I'm like, good luck. If I'm laying on the ground, and I've got wood floors,
Mhm.
good luck. Like, you might move me a little bit. It's going to take everything out of you.
Mhm.
And the moment you don't have that wood floor on your side, you're screwed. The moment we get outside, you're done for. Like, you're not getting me to move anymore. You're going to have to enlist the help of my children. And I think they like me enough to not help.
So, real quick, I'm gonna have to get going right now.
All right.
But one thing, I don't remember their name, but you would know him. It was Roger something, Huntley.
Huntley. Yeah,
Huntley.
the
So
Huntleys, dude.
he's a big dude.
Yeah, really big guy.
Passed out drunk at a party one night. I was afraid he was gonna vomit in his own mouth. I could barely get him flipped onto his side.
Yeah, he was like 300 pounds.
And
like a solid 300 pounds.
yeah, no, I was like 160 at the time because it was like after we were older, we weren't
Yeah.
young, and it took it all out of me just getting him on his side. And it wasn't Roger, it was Roger's brother. Same build.
Yeah,
It was Roger's
his
brother.
younger brother.
Yeah.
I almost fought him in high school.
Yeah.
And then because I wanted to fight him, Roger got involved, and I almost had to fight him. And that dude would have killed me because I was 130 pounds.
And I like both of them. Like, no, I have no issues, but
I don't really know them well.
I thought he was
I
gonna
was their
die.
neighbor for a while, and like we
Dude.
never interacted because they lived over there off of like in the same area as my dad.
Yeah.
And I lived as an adult. I was renting a place right next door to them.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Roger's younger brother, I had drafting class with him sophomore year. He was a freshman, but way bigger than me. And he was just always running his mouth. So I was like, dude, let's go. And then for whatever reason, he went and told Roger, who was a junior and 3 times my size, came over and like talked to me. I was like, and the way we were talking, he was like trying to squash the beef. Like it was pretty chill. Like he took me to where all the upperclassmen were hanging out right there by the soda machines and all that.
Mhm.
And he was like, so I hear you got problems. I was like, well, dude, your brother's always running his mouth. Like, I didn't start this, but
Yeah.
I'm willing to finish it. And he was like, all right, dude, just like, can you just back off my brother? Can you? I was like, all right, dude, fine. Like, we'll kill it. Whatever. Like, it was stupid anyway. It was some
Yeah.
high school drama. And I was like, all right, man, no problem. Like, we're good. And then he just like stopped talking to me and started talking to all of his friends. So I was like, I guess we're good. And I
Yeah.
walked back to where me and my friends were. And about 5 minutes later, he showed up like a raging bull and then realized I hung out with some pretty insane people that were like, you want to fight him? You're fighting all of us. And Kenneth, Kenny got crazy, punched a brick wall, broke his hand, like broke his arm, and went, all right, let's do this.
Mhm.
And he was like,
Yeah, no, I'm not.
you hang out with lunatics. And I was like, yeah, I do. So then he wandered off. So then after that, I've never spoken to either one of them again.
Yep.
Like even when they were my neighbors, we didn't have issues. We didn't talk. So I don't know anything about them.
Well,
But I know those dudes had an abusive upbringing because their dad and their uncle, their name is known throughout Tucson as being brawlers.
oh, I know.
Like those dudes were just big ass bullies that would go into bars and pick fights.
So, back to my story real quick. I roll him onto his side. Took me probably 10 minutes to do that. I was not capable. I thought I would be like saving his life or whatever. I'm drunk too. But anyway,
I
was
got your back, bro.
so I go back out and it was at someone's house, but it was like a bonfire party out back.
Yeah.
And he was like up on like the stoop for the steps, but not on the steps. So the steps were here, and then it like had a path to walk around. And he was on that, and so
Okay.
like I rolled him onto his side, and I like couldn't get people's attention and stuff. And then I go back out to the party, and I was gonna go back check on him. He was gone, and I look back, and he's just fucking sitting there playing beer pong. And it was like 20 minutes later, and I was like, all right, maybe I did nothing, and I just like rolled him onto his side and woke him up. I don't know. Like, maybe he was fine. But
Hey, he didn't die. I know he's still alive.
Yep. Nailed it.
You saved his life.
All right.
All right. So on that bombshell, Nick saved a life.
I'm a hero.
So if you made it this far, give us the thumbs buttons and
Some
comment
follows.
and subs and all the other fun things that people have been telling you to do for the last 20 years on YouTube.
And let us know what you want us to talk about.
Yeah,
We'll talk about almost anything. And I say almost anything because I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah. The social security number is 555-5555. All right, from Tucson, Arizona, Randy.
I'm Nick.
Bye.